Колеги, доброго дня. Дякую всім, хто прийшов і хто дивиться нас онлайн. Ми продовжуємо.
Good morning. We are going to continue our working day. Our topic of the next briefing is who is slowing down the reforms in the Ministry of Defense. Our speaker is Yevhen Krupa, chairman of the Association of the UOBP, Nina Karapetyan, human rights activist, member of the Public Council of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, Konstantin Novitsky, a member of the competition for the leading positions in the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and who else? Oleksandr Mamatov, I understand he's going to join us later. He represents Ukrainian Union of Soldiers, Veterans, and ATO soldiers. You have the floor. Dear friends, the topic of our press conference and why we actually decided to hold it, there were a lot of complaints regarding the Ministry of Defense Ukraine to the effect that all the reforms which have been announced and reflect on the mass media actually leaves much to be desired. 1 year ago, we allowed the so-called volunteer group to join MOD. There were a lot of complaints and a lot of different claims launched by the Office of the Prosecutor and Minister of Defense, but nothing was done. There is already a special group in the Ministry of Defense regarding the policy and the corruption actions. Actually, they try to understand who is to blame for all those hinders and slow down and the fact that the army is still not provided with the necessary clothing and footwear. Actually, in Zaporozhye, President Ukraine mentioned in October this year that all the armed forces of Ukraine have been completely provided with the winter uniforms. This actually was the beginning of our investigation. The matter is that Mr. Gosin, Mr. Yuriy, Mr. Konstantin Lesnik repeatedly mentioned that the guilt is with the servicemen, specifically the rear service, who they do not provide the information what has to be purchased and delivered, etc. We received information that as of January 2015, there was a request to the Department of Procurement for 161 items regarding different type of clothing and ammunition. There were a lot of scandals regarding the types of uniforms and the equipment, but everything is hashed down. They allocated more than 2 billion hryvnia for this purpose, but the winter time clothing they start to purchase that only in August, when the cabinet ministers actually allocated additional more than 700 million hryvnia. But very funny question: out of this 700 million hryvnia for the winter clothing, 245 million were spent for fuel and 165 million for food products. Now we can hear from the ATO fighters that until now a number of the different items in that request were not delivered. They could not be delivered because the Minister of Defense is going to take care of delivering 161 positions of items. And in August, Mr. Gusev and company, they struck off more than half of those items. You can see that on the slide. What else we would like to draw attention to? Since December, when the Department of Procurement was headed by the so-called volunteer team, not a single procedure was taken care of according to the established procedure. Only they were based only on the procedure of negotiations, though at the same time the Minister of Interior, the Border Guard Service, and the Emergency Service take care of the established procedure. They do not have any claims or scandals. Since May, there was a big scandal associated with the uniform, specifically the fabrics which were presented by the listings group to be purchased. As you can see in this slide, the listening team provided or offered 5 different kinds of fabrics. In Ternopil, Stern, they actually worked out one of the specifications, and that was announced that when the continuously faced the questions what can you explain that you used the cotton fabric? He said, I don't know. I understand this time the external manager stands up and provides all the necessary explanation regarding this fabric. Though if you're talking about the technology of this fabric, about 20% can be saved at each uniform if they use the proper type of fabric. Perhaps everybody know about the big scandal associated with the purchase of the high boots of the Talan company. I won't go into details now because you can see that information in the mass media and take it from us directly. But the question is, owing to the fact that 280,000 pairs of this boot were purchased for the higher price, the budget lost several hundred million hryvnia. So the question is, why they, you're talking about the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, they have been penalized for the different companies for the non-timely supply of the products. And one of the companies has now more than 1 million hryvnia penalties, but it continues to be part of the auctions. And among other bidders, why it's being done. Also, there was another scandal associated with the fact that the specifications are prepared for specific manufacturers owing to the volunteers and those people who are not indifferent. One of the scandals was provoked by the fact that specifications and the technical conditions were prepared specifically for one of the Russian company for the special mats, and of course they noticed it in due time and they canceled that order or those technical conditions and specifications and returned them for the to be changed. Another issue associated with the introducing amendments into the legislation of Ukraine on the ownership of the developments of the Minister of Defense. While previously whatever was developed by Minister of Defense could belong only to the Minister of Defense, by removing just one phrase from this text, they enabled privates and all the kind of fraudulent persons to claim the patents for this or another kind of product. In November, Deputy Minister of Defense Mr. Gusev actually removed 2 albums from the archives of the Minister of Defense, were actually from documents of the Minister of Defense, which contained different samples of different kind of clothes, including underwear. So now he actually gave those samples to the private companies, and they actually now claim that they are designers of that.
На словах. В реалии
They said that maybe sometime in the future we can do something for Minister of Defense free, but not now. So actually, this is the case. Then the private companies had a chance to make money, to earn some money, and the Minister of Defense is just taking chance of that. Again, if you're talking about the repair and maintenance of the military equipment, we are approached by the Odessa factory with a complaint that for 2 or 3 years they haven't been paid any salary, and there is a big indebtedness for the communal services. But surprisingly, Mr. Gusev decided to revive this enterprise, and he actually invested a lot of money to that, despite the fact that there are a lot of different operating enterprises of this kind with the skilled enterprises, skilled personnel. I mean, we are talking about $50,000 here. Also, the one of the volunteer team, they take special pride in the fact that they developed the Prozoro system. But for some reason nobody says that this Prozoro system is based on the private platforms or sites, one of which, for some unknown reasons, has been registered in Moscow, in the aggressor country. And here you can see the copies of the documents telling that Mr. Gusev, while filling in his declaration about incomes, he actually deceived not only the government of Ukraine or the Minister of Defense, but he actually lied to the people of Ukraine. He is the founder of more than 5 charity funds in the apartment. He put as his apartment. In his declaration, actually, there's a place or address of a church. He is also a co-founder of some of the investment company, also the co-founder of the company involved in construction work. At the same time, no data of this kind have been mentioned in his declaration. We can see that this is a person who in the past was related to many other people involved in the being part of the many scandals. He continues this kind of illegal activity, embracing the office of the Deputy Minister of Defense. Regarding all those issues, we have the complete package of documents. We are prepared to give it to any law enforcement body or TV channel, all this information. We're preparing a more broad press conference or bigger press conference, but since we are limited in time, I can say that we can provide this information additionally. Who is going to speak next? Thank you. Very briefly, within 2 or 3 minutes.
I will speak for 1 minute, Artur Nikolaevich, International Center of Ukraine, and we named these persons already, so I would like to tell you about the main principles that are in our states and that were led by our revolution. The main principle of success of the state is first is rightfulness and professionalism and division of responsibilities. And from what you have seen, we can make the conclusion that volunteer groups were introduced and all these principles were declined. So the same persons are both the developers and they also try these products and they also produce this product. So we may say that and define that this is the ground for corruption. And who are those people who don't understand this, who will be responsible for this corruption, and who introduced these people to the scene? Those people, we believe that these people could change something, but it appears that they are the main actors of this corruption. And how do they did they give specifications to private persons, so every person can buy this enterprise? If this enterprise can be bought by the foreign firm, so the army can go without ammunition or some products that they need. So national defense is threatened by this. And one more issue. We are sure that everything is done like this. So they find someone, they give some responsibilities, and then they use this person to their own benefit. And it's not good for Ukrainian state and people of Ukraine. And then further, but you take time from your colleagues, so of your colleagues. Yes, I will take this time. So then they make bad reputation of volunteer battalions and other initiatives of the society. And this is the method that for creating the situation. Good afternoon. This topic concerns the Ministry of Defense. I would like to congratulate all the servicemen with their professional holiday. For the last 2 years, there were many faults in all the structural divisions of the MOD. And the staff policy is carried out very badly, and it led to bad results. So many offices are not provided with housing. 41,000 offices without flats. So the housing is divided in two directions. The first one is service housing, and the second is permanent housing. So this is the queue starting from 1991, 1992. To get service housing, the servicemen should be checked in some register, and then because of some unknown reasons, there are people of different categories, and they are enlisted in some categories of 2015, 2014. Then people get this service housing, and they privatize this housing. Then they deprivatized this housing, and then they are enlisted once again, and then they get a flat or some housing for themselves or for their relatives. As to permanent housing, I don't speak about all the offices. When they get permanent housing, they live there for several years. Then they get divorced with their wives through the court. After the divorce, they enlisted once again for the housing. So they don't resolve these issues at the ministry. Those cases of the international courts and the money were allocated by the state to build houses for officers and their families, but these money are lacking. So all this leads to the fact that the staff policy in the MOD is absolutely incorrect. Thank you. We have 3 minutes till the end of a press conference. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm thankful for this opportunity to speak, and I'm Konstantin Novitsky, and I'm a participant of the competition for the CEO position of the enterprise, and for me the situation is new and surprising, and I want to say about what I saw and what I understood. Maidan brought not only new views, new approaches, it brought also new criminality to new types of corruption, and this corruption is, we may say that now it is Euro corruption. It's a first step from the corruption that we knew, and with what we fight with direct legislation. And now Euro corruption is unique. This is explained by the fact that positions are taken by people who are not ready to do their work properly. They are ambitious and they are connected with the previous power. They didn't get support of people. They are not transparent and open. And that's why I want to show to you. You can see this information at the site about the competition, but the procedure is interesting here. So it's easy to say, but it's difficult to conduct this procedure correctly, and the mechanisms are just very strange. These contests, they are stopped, they are cancelled in order to leave those people at their positions and start the contest all over again. But they don't have dates when they start this contest, and the term for applications, and people who want to take part in this contest, they get only the answer that there's no information about it. And if you compare to these slides, they differ that in one, the dates are fixed of start of the competition, and then there's a declaration about the second part. And so there's no beginning and end. And I won the contest, but I got the letter, and I have a protocol that they unanimously voted for me, but there's an application that you have to undergo a lie detector. A lie detector is bad for someone who wants to hide something, but I'm ready to undergo this procedure. A polygraph, the lie detector test, but there's a person who didn't take part in a contest, but he is appointed for a permanent position. Why this contest is important for him? Of course, this contest is for those people who want to win. So this is a violation of legislation. in this procedure, and it is proven by the documents that I wanted to show to you. But I think that only transparency and your movement, the mass media, can help to stop this, because corruption is really of a different character. Thank you very much for your attention.
And the last speaker, Mr. Anatoly Magursky, you have unfortunately only 1 minute at your disposal, so please be short. My name is Anatoly Magursky. I would like to say the following. On February 16, the fighters of the Martinez, 16 Martinez Brigade were surrounded in near Debaltsevo. It was very cold weather. With every hour, less and less fighters remained alive, especially wounded. They found one of our fighters, sent to the DPR, and they diagnosed the first degree of freezing of the hands and the feet. Actually, they amputated his feet and hands. Why so? Because we faced the merciless enemy. They had the uniform, they had everything, but they had no way to protect themselves against frost. There is a device like that, so we are dealing with the development of special equipment, innovation equipment, and we start to think how to protect the person during the very low temperature. We saw how the people are sleeping in trenches. You can see those pictures on the slide. They cover themselves with the national flag of Ukraine. They have nothing else. So we they designed such a outfit which is called the House for Soldiers. This is multifunctional military uniform, which is multifunctional. Number one is wind resistant and water resistant jacket. Sleeping bag from -20 to +20, the range of temperature. Now it can be used like the stretchers, and we know that a lot of wounded and in low temperature weather they can die because of the cold. And there are special handles, and they can use that as stretchers to take him away from the battlefield. We actually demonstrated that kind of uniform or outfit in February to everybody. We showed that in the Minister of Defense Minister himself looked at that and said, okay, we are going to take that. We showed it to Turchinov, to the President of Ukraine in Yuriy training range. Everybody placed a request. Everything seemingly was okay, but the Department of Procurement of Purchase actually struck it off the list. That's why this kind of outfit did not reach the front line. You can see they can wear this kind of uniform on -15, -20 degrees centigrade, and because this outfit were not provided to the front line, those people near the Baltso, many of those actually were frozen to death, and nobody knows when we are going, who is going to invent another uniform which can protect the soldiers against lower temperature. And actually, nobody can affect the officials who take the decision. Nobody in our country. Many of the mass media can do this miracle. We decided to show you this to demonstrate this house for a soldier. It's called. You can see that now in this specific case. In the form of vest, you can develop it, and you can sleep under any tree. It will be warm and will survive. This is like a transformer, can be transformed in different shapes. Thank you for your attention. Actually, we invited the representative of the Minister of Defense of Ukraine for him to respond to your information and to voice the position of the Minister of Defense. But unfortunately, nobody joined us. Now we have several minutes for questions and answers. Elena Sipchenko, UCMC. Actually, I have two comments in a small question. Regarding the Prozor system, you mentioned that there were some Russian sites or the Ministry of Defense and some kind of underwater currents. In fact, this is online platform where the public procurement take place, where the Minister of Defense, Minister of Health, Minister of Infrastructure, other public ministers can actually take care of the public procurement. This is done by the Minister of Economic and Trade of Ukraine, Mr. Nefedov, so you can directly write to him if you have some claims, complaints, or the proposals regarding this site. And the second comment regarding one of the picture you showed, actually the soldier under the snow, and this actual picture was taken back in 2010, and that was a Russian soldier. So this is not true, actually. And you mentioned when you were talking about the clothes in your form, the provision of the soldiers, that our fighters complain that they lack many things. If you can give us the names, specific names, or the military units numbers, for example, in such and such military unit, for example, 20 or 30 soldiers are not provided with high boots or with. Answer your first question. Whatever happens, why those platforms the size belong to private persons? If you are talking about the public procurement, means the government must or the country must earn the money. In this case, for each lot, the bidders have to pay 175 hryvnia. Just to give an example, roughly speaking, one of the bidders would like to provide to the Minister of Defense one of the formal uniforms. 10 lots are there, 10 bids actually. So it means 1,750. So 1,700 goes to somebody's pocket just for one bid. And the rest 1,000. So the sum will skyrocket. So if those platforms, the size belong to the Minister of Defense or the state, if that money would go to the budget, no problem. But somebody found a very good, source of enrichment. Again, on 22nd, they reported, on 14th of October, they reported that all the soldiers are provided with all the winter uniform. I have the special ladies. I traveled to Zaporozhye, Mariupol, Nikolaev, Kherson, Donetsk, and Lugansk region, Belgrade, Odessa, Belozersko. I have all those documented. And based on those facts, we put in Facebook and in video. I did not film the faces of the soldiers or fighters in order not to jeopardize them. But again, the rear service of Minister of Defense said that until November 15th, November, not October, we will provide everybody with winter clothing. But some of the people, just to show that they were good persons, they said that the army is provided with everything. What do you mean by everything? 80 positions were struck off the list. But you did not answer my question, how many soldiers are not provided with the winter clothes. As of October, in the period between the October 14th through 20, only 35-40% of our fighters were provided. Only after we put this information on the website, the prosecutor's office started to work in the warehouses, in the military units. Only after that, they started to bring in or to deliver the specific clothing. And still they are actually additionally purchasing the winter underwear. And we are already in the winter period. They still did not do that. They are just taking care of buying this underwear. A short comment, and we are going to actually to close our press briefing. Answering the question regarding the photographs. Actually, the house for a soldier, we did that in summer. Actually, since that was summer, and we collected the information available. And actually, the soldier, whether it was 2010, 13, 15, or 2020, will look the same. But we did not have the picture of the soldier who suffers from hypothermal conditions. He actually is gone nuts. He undresses completely, strips himself, and he freezes. Actually, but speaking about this specific uniform, we did all the necessary tests in the refrigerators, etc. Well, I understand this is a very good design, and but I was talking only about the use of different pictures, and this should be very well verified information, because especially in some social networks, people do not verify the facts. And this specific picture which you demonstrated, the picture of the Russian soldier, actually it was shown in the social networks by the journalists that those are our Ukrainian soldiers in the eastern parts. You know, our pictures are much more scary, and it's really scary to show them if you have the true photographs, even the scary ones. Better to show the true ones. I think Anatoly, we already passed the line of time today, so thank you for coming and all the best to you. Our next press conference in a few minutes from now.